What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, and today we're going to be doing an interesting topic that I've wanted to do for about a year now, but I think it's about time with, the primary starting to kick in a little bit, and we have an interesting Arizona governor election. I wanted to talk about Arizona for a little bit because I have a mini-series planned for the next couple of weeks talking about the Arizona races, the governorship, the Senate race there, because I am getting sick and tired of some of these people on the right and the left. I mean, some of these people are complete morons when it comes to the state of Arizona. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, these Reaganite 14-year-olds that don't know who Reagan even is, they're fiscal, quote-unquote, conservative, but socially liberal idiots. These people are claiming that, oh, Arizona is a neocon state, or a quote-unquote moderate state, or quote-unquote this, or this. It's none of that. I am getting so sick and tired of this crap that I wanted to debunk this entire argument once and for all about Arizona. Is it like a nationalist state? Obviously not. The GOP statewide, yeah, it is a nationalist statewide party, but it's not a nationalist state. What it is, however, I would consider an independent-minded state. It's a unique state politically. There's a lot of moving parts of the state that I want to talk about a little bit. But before we start with that, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. So, before we talk about anything, we have to talk about 2020. And supposedly Trump lost the state by three-tenths of a percentage point. Now, Trump was considered the quote-unquote weaker candidate, right? According to some people. And some people were saying, well, Martha, or the neocons will perform better than Trump. Or the establishment will perform better than Trump. All that crap. So, with this logic, Martha McSally, who is not a good candidate, by the way, but fits that mold perfectly. A neocon, not really neocon, but just more establishment-esque candidate. She would fit that bill perfectly. So according to this logic made by these 14-year-olds on Twitter and these idiots on the left in the election mafia, Martha McSally, even with her weaknesses, should have at least overperformed Trump by, a couple percent, like a percent or so. So she should have won. Well, take a guess what happened. McSally lost. And again, I know people are going to say that, well, McSally's like a very weak candidate, Mark Kelly's a strong candidate. Sure. But here's the thing, though. McSally still should have won this race. If this state is an establishment shill state, they should have supported McSally in droves. I mean, McSally, while she has faults, she is essentially an establishment shill. That's what you could say about her. And Mark Kelly, I would say, is an overrated candidate. He's not a strong candidate. I am sick and tired of people saying, Mark Kelly is a strong candidate. No. Is he a stronger candidate than Democrats that run in the past? Yeah. But that's not saying much. I mean, he's a candidate with half a brain. He campaigned okay, and he was an astronaut. That's the main reason that he did win. But even then, McSally should have won this race, and we all know interesting things happen in the state. But even then, statistically, McSally underperformed Trump, and Mark Kelly overperformed Biden. So, what happened here? Well, you see, I have a theory on why McSally truly underperformed. And we got this in the exit polls. And before I talk about this even further, again, this is exit poll data. This is not exactly perfect, but we also have some ballot measures that kind of maybe prove it. Look at this right here. Party ID for Trump, all right? Trump got around 90% of the Republican vote and 44% the independent vote. So he won Republicans by 81%, and independents he lost by 9. But again, take this with a grain of salt for 5 minutes. These numbers could be different significantly, but it does show a trend that, hey, Trump won these quote-unquote establishment Republicans by 81%, or at least. Well, you would think McSally would win it by 85%. She must have done, or at worst, done a little bit better with independents. she did worse with both. Every single group she did worse with. Republicans, she won by 78. Independents, she lost by 10. So, you do some basic math, that's how she lost. And the question is, why did she underperform Republicans? I mean, you would think that, well, you see, Republicans would, like, vote down ballot Republican. Now, again, exit polls, they're not perfect, all right? But this gives a clear trend. Trump performed better within his own party than McSally did. The question is this, why? Well, folks, it's time to debunk something real quick. Most of America is not this LARP of, small government economics. That's not what America is, alright? Sure, most Americans support less regulation. They support a simpler tax code. But they don't support what most Republicans support of free trade globalism. So do Democrats, but you get the point. Republicans have traditionally been the party of free trade, complete deregulation, of quote-unquote free market capitalism, aka monopolies everywhere. That's what Republicans have been known for. And McSally in particular, she's been known for unique stances on Social Security. It was never clear what she supported with Social Security, but based on what she said, she essentially would have gutted Social Security in Arizona. That's not a good combination. And Richard Barris, the best pollster in America, did a poll in 2020 that showed that McSally was underperforming Trump with Republican women above the age of 65 for one reason. Social Security, economics, all of that. That's why she underperformed Trump. Economics. Now, I'm not saying Trump is like some, economic, nationalist, like somebody like Blake Masters or anything like that. But he is more common sense in economics, all right? We'll say that at least. And, well, you started looking at Arizona. They had a couple ballot measures. And again, ballot measures, not usually the best when it comes to saying how a state is politically. I mean, some of those abortion referendums, they're terribly worded, and that's why it's like 80% they lose all the time. But look at ballot measures. These were the two things on the ballot. These do not seem like neoconservatism or establishmentarian. These seem like a more populist-esque measures. Increase taxes to benefit public education. Now, public education, we don't necessarily like, right? Especially at the Real American Channel. I'm not a big fan of public education. But still, a majority of Arizonians voted for a tax increase to help public education, help schools. And also, they legalized marijuana and taxed it. This seems like a very, neocon-esque state. Most neocons, these shills, they don't support this crap. Alright? These people on Twitter saying, oh, Arizona's essentially my values of McCainism and Romneyism. They don't support this stuff. And Arizona voted majority for both of them, for both of these. And you start looking at some more data. It's like, well, you see, maybe just 2020 was a fluke. And, well, you see, John McCain, for all those years, he was winning. It just proves it's a neocon state. Cope seethe. Okay, so even with all this data, some people will just say those, like, oh, they're just a ballot measure. Who cares? Like, oh, who cares if they're not actually economically, like, libertarian or something like that? Sure, they're more libertarian, but I would say they're more independent more than anything. And what's the difference? Independent voters, they're all over the political compass, but traditionally leans right socially, but leans left or leans center economically. That's where they are. And based on this, that's kind of what it proves. But for the McCain argument that he won all those years, let's look at these candidates he ran against. 1998, red wave year. But also, he ran against Ed Ranger. Never heard of him? Exactly. No-name guy that got like $2 worth of fundraising. 2004. You read this is a hilarious story. And look at this. This is why he lost. And you go down here. Where is it? I guess it's the next election. Sorry. But essentially, you look at this. And he was a teacher that he ran against. And the Teacher magazine shitted on the Democrat. You know, the teacher that's running as a Democrat? They shitted on him. The media favored McCain in this election. And also, look at this. He spent $15,000. He spent $15,000 compared to McCain, who spent millions in this race. I mean, you keep looking at these elections. 2010, not only was it a red wave year, you had Rodney Glassman, a unique Democrat who probably deserves his own video. I mean, he's a blue dog Democrat. And you go down here, take a guess what the fundraising looked like. Hold on, what did the spending look today? Right here. McCain spent this much money. Glassman had a 20th of what McCain had. He spent only $1 million compared to McCain, who spent around $11 million. Yeah, I wonder why he keeps winning. I mean, he had unlimited money. Well, Democrats spent like $2 on this race every single time, while McCain just spent millions. Then 2016, this result was inflated. Look at the third-party candidate, Green Party. Yeah, 90% of them probably would have went to Kirkpatrick. You just keep doing some basic math, and yeah, no wonder McCain did not do this is a McCain saying in quotes, because the Democrats never funded this race till 2018. 2018 was the first time, essentially ever, that they put a significant amount of money into Arizona. For years, they never touched it. And they put up some shitty candidate nobody's ever heard of, and they get stomped every single time. Now, I'm going to also hear the Doug Ducey argument that, oh, Doug Ducey, you know, he's a moderate, in quote, Republican, and he did great in 2018, even in a blue wave year. This is the dumbest argument I've ever heard, that because Doug Ducey won in 2018, that's a neocon establishment state. Look, Doug Ducey sucks. But the candidate he ran against was Bernie Brew on freaking steroids. And if Donald Trump went against Bernie, he would have beaten Bernie by 15 points in Arizona. I don't care what people say about, oh, the polling data from March of 2019. It said that Bernie was going to win by 6. Bernie would have got clobbered in Arizona. I mean, Trump had to run against 2 candidates in a row who, yes, they were terrible candidates, but had some appeal to Arizona. While McCain, Romney, all those clowns, they never had a single one that appealed to them. But Trump had to deal with 2 of them that could somewhat appeal to those voters. And plus other things that happened on November 3rd. But you get the point that this idea of the neocon state, look, it's an independent state. Alright? Leans, you know, right socially and culturally. But at the same time, more centrist on economics. Like, they take a pragmatic approach. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this quickish video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, again, sorry about this. I was just getting so sick of people on Twitter saying, it's a neocon state because back in 1998, McCain won. It's a cope. It's not a neocon state. I recommend people do go to Arizona on like a vacation, so like that. Go, just drive through Arizona, not through central Phoenix, just 90% of the state. You'll see what I mean, that it's not a neocon state. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.